Here's the deal. I like editing and creating videos, but I have no clue what to make videos on. I really like the Fire Emblem franchise, but I have a big scramble in my head of what I should really be talking about. Lately, I've been trying to pinpoint a basic topic to talk about in Fire Emblem, but I can't really think of much, so I'm just gonna spend a couple minutes talking about each game. You know, it'd be a nice beginning of the channel. An anecdote about each Fire Emblem game I've played, I think it's pretty good. So let's start with the games that I have played. I've played Fire Emblem 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, and 15. So I have been pretty consistent with the games that I've played from the Fire Emblem franchise. The only reason why I didn't play 12 was because I was right off playing Shadow Dragon for like the 5th time. And you know, that's one of those games that you can only replay so many times. I did play a bit of Genealogy of the Holy War, especially the first chapter. I'm a big Heroes player and I love Sigurd, Dieter, Julius, Ishtar, all those characters, so I wanted to give it a try, but I only made it through the first chapter. I ended up getting busy afterwards, you know, just life happens. Anyways, let's talk about the games that I have played. So, starting with Fire Emblem 7 Blazing Blade. It has been quite a long time since I played this game, so it's a little bit foggy in my memory. When I think about this game critically, I only think of it as a bland, boring, with nothing really sticking out, but when I let my bias through, I can't call it bad. It's just something about this game, I can't pinpoint it. The story really gets to me and the characters are amazing. Hector as a character sticks out pretty much every time he's talking. I love every moment that he's on screen. But when you get deeper into the situation, it really gets depressing. Like when you try to think about the position that his brother is in, with him being the only family that's left and Hector having to watch him die because of the disease. It makes me feel for Lilina and what might be coming for her, because Hector only lived as long as he did because of our mods. Other than that, I also really like the Lin crew. They just have a special spot in my heart, I can't really name why. But yeah, this game is pretty cool, a good place to start. Let's move forward. So Fire Emblem 8, The Sacred Stones. I really like this game. The graphics, the colors, the music, the refined mechanics, everything in this game sticks out. Even the characters stick out to me, each on their own. Franz is one of my favorite cavaliers in the series, Seth is a boss ass bitch, Ross and Garcia are like the best together, La Rochelle has a very poppy personality, and you know, Myrrh is like the cutest thing in the series. There's also Garrick's mercenary band that gives me a whole lot of feels. To me, this game sticks out because of its characters and everything it did to improve on the last games. So Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, oh my god. Quite possibly my favorite Fire Emblem game. I've never grown more attached to Ike and his journey through Tellius. Like, the scope of the game is absolutely huge. I can feel the powers in play when the Crimean invasion is going on. You really get a sense of the power that Benio and Dane holds. Even on a much smaller scale, you can feel the racism against the Lagoos and how their lives of the Branded are destined to be bad ones. It's just the game puts so much effort into the finer details to make everything stick out. Seeing Ike and the Grail mercenaries go through the game and become stronger is truly the best part of the game. There is so much about Tellius that I wish I had more of in later games like Fates and Awakening. Like, when I think about this game, I think this game is defined as the journey and not the end destination. When I'm looking back at Path of Radiance, I never remember the end game boss fight. In fact, Ashnard is pretty forgettable. I usually remember Ike and his journey to become stronger. I've never been more encapsulated by another game as much as I had with Path of Radiance. If the Tellius games are not as big as a flop as they were, I feel like this series could have gone much further. Like in an alternative world where Path of Radiance was responsible for Fire Emblem blowing up, suppose Path of Radiance was a major hit. Imagine how cool a Tellius trilogy would have been. Alright, so big disclaimer, I'm actually playing through this game right now. I'm halfway through part 2, so I'll just speak my opinion about what I've seen so far. Alright, so positives first. In terms of story, I like everything that this is doing to improve on Path of Radiance. In terms of gameplay, it's kinda throwing me off a loop that an unkillable unit such as Nyla and the Black Knight join you that quick. It's really messing with my head as I'm training units like Micaiah and Edward that I'm like slowly training up, and then Black Knight shows up with like max stats, cap stats, and just solos the maps. You know, it's just not what I'm used to in a Fire Emblem game. It just feels weird. But apart from that, I really like the perspective switch to Dane. It makes you think back and, you know, was Dane bad or was it just Ashnard? Valencia's struggle as queen also make complete sense. Like, I'm out here catching feels for Valencia and our country is being torn apart from the inside. There's the unspoken tension between the royals and the people. And I really can't wait to see the Grail mercenaries and how far Ike has come. It's weird, but it also makes complete sense that he's being condemned by Crimea and almost everyone else. You know, he's condemned by Crimea for his affiliation with Laguz, but then he's also condemned by Dane for what he did to their country. This part of the story really speaks to me. I can't see anything bad happening from this. So I'm expecting high hopes for Radiant Dawn. I expect to enjoy this game. Alright, so Fates. I'm gonna talk about these ones before Awakening as I played Fates first. This was the second game I ever played after Shadow Dragon. I hadn't bought a 3DS until very late into its lifespan, but when I did get one, I saw how far this series blew up since Shadow Dragon. God, I must have watched like 1,000 YouTube videos around the game before I even bought it. I was infatuated with the game before I even had my hands on it. The series was beyond recognition, and I had to remember how fun Shadow Dragon was and how stupid I was for letting myself not continue playing these games when I grew up. Anyways, in terms of Fates, I've been consistently playing this game for 2 years now. Run after run, I never grew bored of these games. It's just the reclassing and the different units are so fun to use in different runs. It's also that there's 3 different paths that I can use all these characters differently in. It just like, there's so much replayability. I started with Conquest and the gameplay was fun, fast, responsive, but the story did confuse me. As, blame me if I'm wrong, but 3/4 of the story literally doesn't matter, only the last part really matters. And I figured this out even when I was a stupid 16-year-old. I don't know, this game sticks out to me as for the gameplay rather than the story. There's just so much fun to be had. Anyways, Awakening. So the reason why I put this after Fates was because this had a big gap between when I finished Fates and I started playing Awakening. At this point, I'd gotten engrossed in the Fire Emblem community on YouTube and Reddit and had learned everything that the community had to say about Awakening. And as I could probably infer, it ruined the game for me. The accumulation of the community shitting on the game had me make up my mind before I even played the game. I had read every criticism of the plot and every story beat before it even happened in front of me. I had pretty much known the entire story before I even played the game. In terms of gameplay, it also wasn't much better. I don't know, pair up just seemed really broken. It's just there's so many ways to break this game. Like Gale Force, the Tactician, Nosferatu. I broke the game by training Donald and giving him Soul, which I didn't know I could just throw him into like 5 billion people and just live all the hits. My Awakening playthrough really just consisted of Donald with Soul and a hand axe going in, charging by himself. You could say that I inflicted this on myself, but at that point in the game I just wanted to get it over with. I don't know, my only wish for Awakening was that I could have forgotten everything about it and had a chance to be infatuated with its design and characters, the way the majority of the fanbase was when they first played it. I'm just left with sadness every time I think about Awakening. I don't know. And let's go from Awakening to Shadows of Valentia. Oh my god. This was the first game that I had ever gotten a chance to be hyped for. I never experienced what the hype of a game launch felt like in my life before, so I finally got to feel it with Shadows of Valentia. And I gotta say, I'm not disappointed at all. I still remember Gast freaking out over the announcement like it was yesterday. Hashtag play Gaiden, bro. In terms of my opinions on the game, this is the least video game in the series, you know? Like, everything builds to the plot instead of the actual gameplay. The actual gameplay feels like it's trying to show off an aesthetic, build a world, or simulate the journey that Alm and Celica went through and kinda give you the feel for it, rather than actually play like a tactical JRPG. You know, this game makes me feel like I am in Alm and Celica's shoes. Like, they go from such a small issue such as the vegetation stopping to actually trying to fight a god. And the escalation feels almost completely natural. I don't know, the game starts strong and it ends strong, and it almost never really like drops anywhere between the 2 points. To me, this game is an experience before it is anything else. And I can't say I hate a single character from this game. Like, trying to find me a character from Shadows of Valentia that has a major flaw to them, I don't think you can find one compared to the other Fire Emblem games. I can't stop myself from saying this is the closest to perfection Fire Emblem has come. And you know, that's great, and I can only hope Three Houses builds on that. I just want to see this series just reach perfection. Like if we could have Shadows of Valentia's story experience, but also with good gameplay of Conquest. It's just this series has so much fragmented beauty that I wish it could all just be combined together. Like if you could take the assets of Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, Echoes, Conquest, combine everything together, that's what I want Three Houses to feel like. Anyways, that's all I have to say about each Fire Emblem game I've played up to this point. I'll probably continue to make videos on this channel as a passion project. I really like the franchise and I want to make another version of this video with updated thoughts once I've played through each and every single Fire Emblem game. Until now, I'm going to leave it with this and, you know, think of another idea to work on because I do want to continue uploading this channel. Hopefully there's a bright future for this channel.